Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. First, I'd like to recognize that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the LHTAKO DENE. And I should mention that I'm taking the chair today as acting mayor because Mayor Bob Simpson is down in Victoria talking to as many ministers and the premier as he possibly can. So that's great for us. And the mayor will be joining us on Zoom as soon as he can get out of his last meeting. So if I could get approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Runge, Councillor Vick. Any opposed? No. Yeah, okay, thank you, Councillor Rudenberg. There is a minor change in the agenda as the delegation that we had set up, Westrek, will not be here today. So we'll take F off the table. Thank you for that heads up. And then any opposed to the approval of the agenda? Thank you. We'll look for adoption of the regular minutes. Adopt the regular council meeting from October 19th. Councillor Goulet and Councillor Paul. And number two, so we'll vote on that one. Any opposed? All good. And then adoption of the public hearing meeting minutes, October 19th, 2021. Councillor Rudenberg. Councillor Vick. Thank you. Committee reports. We will slide into mine to begin with from FSAC, the Finance Committee. This meeting was held on October 26th. A few topics that we discussed: West Quesnel land stability. The committee discussed different options for the West Quesnel land stability program, including whether or not there's going to be any additional steps that can be taken and how improvements in the future may take place. Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt. We didn't call a vote on that.
Oh, sorry. On the public hearing? Okay. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rhea. West Quesnel land stability. Basically, staff is just going to bring up an extensive report to us in the future. So all your questions will be answered there. Council of Finance Policies. The committee reviewed a few finance policies that had not been reviewed within 5 years as recommended by the city's policy development and review policy. And those policies are down below for you to take a look at. The budget, the committee discussed some of the challenges for the current budget, such as contractor availability, supply chain issues caused by COVID, inflation, labor force availability, etc. These issues will be considered throughout the budget process, obviously. Spending issues, an overage. We've got the casino funds are once again coming into the city, which is great news. And BC inflation for September 2021 was 3.5%, and that's higher than the 2.2% that's generally budgeted for. So for the recommendations, those are the council policies. Moved Mayor Simpson, seconded Councillor Goulet, and resolved that the Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee recommends to Council to approve the amended version of the Budget Monitoring Policy, CF6, and that, can I do them both together, Ms. Hartley? We'll just break them up. Okay, so on the first one then, I'd move that recommendation, seconded by Councillor Goulet. Any opposed or any conversation or questions? Councillor Runge.
All right. Just looking at the time here. Sorry, on page 15 of 45, I think, just for clarity, I think on the last item under unbudgeted amounts, which should be more than 20% and more than 25 per thousand before it goes to council. Because otherwise, the way it reads now is actually if you had just 20% of 1,000, it should go to council.
Yeah, we did talk about this. Director Bolton, would you like to speak to that, please?
Sorry, if the overage, right now it reads, if the overage is more than 20%, it has to go to council. So.
Thank you. Yeah. So what I'm suggesting is that we add and more than 25,000 also in there. We have or under 25,000, under 10, but we should also have and more than 25,000. Just for clarification, I believe.
More than 20% and over 25,000 is what you want. Yeah. No, that would clarify it more for sure. I think, yeah.
Okay, that's simple. Anything else? We're good? Any opposed to CF6? No, unanimous, thank you. And the second recommendation is that the Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee recommends to Council to reapprove the living wage policy, CF10. I'd move that. Councillor Goulet, second. Any questions or comments? Councillor Runge.
Yeah, you were supposed to add this. So once again, just for clarification, I think it's just and I talked to you guys about this before, on page 17 of 45 under the application, I believe the policy applies to all employees employed by the City of Quesnel as well as all employees employed by a contractor.
Yeah, that's perfect, and thanks for bringing that up. Good catch. That's been in there for years. Perfect. Yes. I was just reminiscing on how good that report was. So I'll move the report then. Second, Councillor Goulet. Any opposed? Thank you. We were going to get an update from the Airport Advisory Committee from Mayor Simpson, but he isn't here yet, so yeah, we can do that. So we'll postpone I2, the Airport Advisory Committee, and Council Reports J1, 1 and 2, until the mayor shows up. And if he's not here, then maybe we'll defer until the next meeting when he can speak to it. There's nothing time sensitive there, I'm sure. But we will go to Councillor Rudenberg for the Union of BC Municipalities Convention. Councillor Rudenberg to provide a verbal report.
Thank you. Short and sweet. This year's UBCM was again online. We did have actually over 1,000 registrants, which was rather surprising considering it was the second year that we hosted the convention online. We weren't sure if people were going to be zoomed out or not. So I think it speaks volumes to the content of what we offered them this year. A couple of interesting resolutions were passed that have implications for local government, our local government, and they've actually just been put in front of government for approval. So one is around development approval processes. I know that our Policy and Bylaw Committee will be looking at how that will affect our community. Another piece that is in front of the provincial government that was passed at UBCM is around responsible government. And it's the first step on how to help our colleagues develop codes of conduct and how they should do those at least once every term, so that, and make it a process that is clear and visible to the community. And then the other piece that is coming up, it's actually, the report will be released tomorrow, is around short-term rentals, and that was a report that was penned with the province and UBCM in regards to short-term rentals and the impact that has on housing across the province. I know that SR2, which was had a lot to do with forestry, was passed, and it talked about the importance of engaging local government and First Nations in regards to discussions around forestry. And given the announcements that happened today, SR2 is really important for local government to be at the table and to be involved in the conversations at so many different levels. I'll leave it at that. What we're hoping for is in fall of 2022 that UBCM will be in person and it will be in Whistler. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rudenberg. Any questions on the verbal report? Yes, Councillor?
I was going to say I have links to a couple of these reports if people are interested in the financial resiliency paper for local government and the piece around responsible government. And tomorrow the short-term rental one will be coming out, so I can forward those links to anybody if they're interested. And I guess the other piece is we all know where I moved up to in UBCM, so that's,
you took my thunder. Well, maybe everybody doesn't know Councillor Rudenberg. Could you explain if there were any promotions, as it were?
Thank you. Yes, I'm now president of UBCM for the next year, so it's been keeping me busy, let me tell you. It's been a good busy, though.
Congratulations, and I know you're going to do a great job. You've been involved in UBCM for many, many years, and I respect all the work you've done.
Thank you very much, Acting Mayor. Thank you.
And we do have the mayor joining us. Hello, Mr. Mayor. You can obviously hear us. We didn't have the delegation, so we're kind of flying ahead. So if you don't mind, we'll go back to your Airport Advisory Committee update verbally.
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, my apologies. I was over at the legislature and had to make the mad dash here, so I was quite shocked to see Councillor Rudenberg doing her report because I thought I had a little bit of time. So thanks for your forbearance. With respect to the Airport Advisory Committee, we had a meeting with the Airport Advisory Committee, and unfortunately, the two city representatives, Josh Pressey, who is the Regional Executive Director for Flynn Road, and Keith Carter, who's a new appointee, he's the Vice President Pope for West Fraser, weren't able to join us. There were some last-minute issues, but it actually positioned the Airport Committee quite in an interesting way because the regional district representatives, Director Glassford was there by Zoom, and then the two individuals that they appointed to the committee that are from the Flying Club were present, and we got a chance to see our new airport supervisor in action, Tommy Grant, and because the individuals who are really interested in scheduled flights weren't in the room and all the issues associated with scheduled flights, we actually heard more clearly from the Flying Club members who had pretty interesting insights into some opportunities for us at the airport. So as council has been made aware, CMA is back to scheduled flights. 5 during the week. The airport supervisor is working with Central Mountain Air as Director Norburn because they are getting subscribed and they're looking at trying to ramp up their scheduled flights as much as possible and to work on the scheduling for those flights. So that is in play. But we are also continuing to advance all of the other things that we learned during COVID are opportunities for us at the airport. So the land subdivision, looking for owner-operators who might work airside businesses, and all of that opportunity that we saw when we started to look at the airport a little bit differently around charters, around fuel, and our fuel sales are up quite substantially. The thing that was interesting in working with the Flying Club members is they really pointed out to us that we've invested a lot in the terminal building. And it's a gorgeous building, and we now fortunately have passengers going through it. But the change that we're making on the focus of can we get more landings, can we get charter flights, can we get fuel stops, etc., has actually switched the traffic that's coming in out of town to the operations building. So the little building where the Flying Club operates out of. And that building is pretty aged out, in particular the washrooms. And so it's our port of entry, if you will, for all of the people that we're engaging with on the non-scheduled side who are now more actively flowing through that building. So we're working, the airport supervisor will be working with Director Norburn to really take a look at that building through that lens, look at opportunities to upgrade it and to make it a point of contact, work with our economic development and tourism folks to make sure that we're presenting the community well, including some of the packages we've got on experiences in the community, immediately trying to look at things like fixing the washrooms and so on. And then we're also looking at, and council's talked about this before, one of our redundant vehicles that's in good shape to be made available there, and for the Flying Club to make arrangements for that vehicle to be available for pilots to be able to get downtown to get a meal or to stay overnight. So that is also in play as well. And they've looked at what other communities have done to enable the easy access to a vehicle like that too. The airport supervisor pointed out that they have a vehicle coming up on the next pass that it's actually in really good shape that may lend itself to that, but they'll be working with Director Bolton and others to sort out how we do the accounting around moving one of our redundant vehicles into that area. So all in all, I think a great meeting and the benefit of having CMA come back, but still remaining focused on all of the other opportunities that we have to really use that airport for other uses and get some more development in there. The final piece was interesting was we did have a pilot flight school. The outfit from Vanderhoof came down and did a pilot school in Williams Lake and a pilot school in Quesnel, and they actually prefer Quesnel as a facility to be able to do that. And so we'll be working with them to see if we can develop that partnership as well. And again, make us a little bit of a destination for folks who want to go through flight school and having that opportunity as another economic development opportunity at the airport. The city manager was in the meeting too, and I don't know if he's wanting to add anything to that if I've missed any of the highlights.
City manager?
No, I think that covered it off pretty well. I think it was pretty full accounting in that meeting.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that. That's exciting about the possibility of flight school. And you're right, that building is old, and if that's our first point of entry, then that's important for us at the city. Any questions or comments from the councillors? No, thank you. That was just a verbal. And then, Mr. Mayor, if you could maybe go into J1, the mayoral appointments.
Yeah, and we want to actually tidy this up because these are a little bit out of sync with what we do with our 2-year appointments for standing committee chairs. So I think in the future, it would be better rather than rolling these over on an annual basis, do that 2-year and 2-year. And so I would make a motion that for acting mayor for 2022, for the first half of the year, Councillor Vick, and the second half of the year, Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do I have a second? Councillor Rudenberg. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. That passed unanimously. And Mr. Mayor, number two then?
And then continuing to have Councillor Rudenberg be the North Cariboo Joint Advisory Committee Chair. I would make that motion that she is our appointee as co-chair of the North Cariboo Joint Advisory Committee.
Okay, and that's seconded by Councillor Goulet. Any questions or comments? Okay, pass unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
On to city staff reports then. Administration Report 102-21, City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees, Amendment Bylaw. Director Bolton to report, please.
Thank you. So the purpose of this report is to request council proceed with the first 3 readings of the City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees Amendment Bylaw No. 1911 to update city fees for January 1st, 2022. So the fee increases are to cover the cost of inflation, to ensure funds are available for capital replacement programs, and to ensure service sustainability. They're all will be effective January 1st, 2022. The Finance Sustainability Audit Committee reviewed these changes at their October 5th committee meeting. There's been one new fee added. This fee goes with the changes to the business licensing bylaw, introducing a rate for commercial landlords' business licenses. There's a summary there of all the changes. Water fees are once again going up 5% because we have a lot of projects coming up in our water fund. Sewer is just going up 2% to keep up with inflation. There are no major changes at the landfill or in several other areas. So the recommendation is that council proceeds with the first 3 readings of the City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw No. 1911 of 2021 in the bylaw section of the meeting, and also something that we discussed with the business license bylaw last council meeting, that council approves waiving the business license application fee for commercial landlords for the first year, 2022. The annual business license fee would still apply.
Perfect. Thank you, Director Bolton. So any questions or comments on the report as we'll cover off the recommendations in the bylaw section? Good. Okay. Thank you very much. Administration Report 104. Yeah.
I do need that second motion passed because the first motion relates to the bylaw, but the second motion is separate.
Absolutely. That makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay. So the second part then, that council approves waiving the business license application fee. Yeah, Councillor Paul, Councillor Goulet. Questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous? Thank you. On to K2, Administration Report 10421, Northern Development Initiative Trust, Grant Applications. Coordinator Blair to report, please.
The purpose of this report is to gain Council's approval to submit grant applications to Northern Development Initiative Trust's Building Facade and Northern BC programs. The Building Facade program, the city applies for this grant annually and has successful campaigns each year. The goal of the program is to enhance economic development by promoting private sector investment in business facade improvements. For the Love Quesnel, this grant will provide funding to promote local businesses who are enrolled with the Love Quesnel program. The project will encompass print and social media advertising, purchasing Love Quesnel merchandise, and gift certificate purchases from Love Quesnel businesses for local promotional campaigns. For recommendation number 1, that Quesnel City Council supports the application to Northern Development Initiative Trust for a grant up to $20,000 for Business Facade Improvements Program.
Can I get a mover? Councillor Runge, second. Councillor Vic, any questions or comments on recommendation number 1? Councillor Vic, please.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I just reflecting on this good program, which we've had for many years, and I certainly support the program, and it's helped many businesses throughout Quesnel. But just reflecting on the cost of construction and the increases with projects, which of course the city's had to bear, I'm wondering if we would have a receptive audience with NDIT to maybe ask them to consider inflationary pressures and maybe increase this grant to account for those inflationary pressures, and then that could cascade down the line, and we could perhaps offer an increase from, instead of 5,000, we could up the contribution from the city, the matching. So I was just floating that idea. I don't know what the audience would think on that, or sort of the NDIT audience would think, but I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'm sure we could start that conversation with them and see how receptive they are. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, if I could, I would actually make a motion to that effect. We don't have a motion on the floor for the grant, so I would make a motion that council asks directly to the trust to consider, due to supply chain issues and cost of inflation for construction, to consider topping this grant up so that we can offer some more cash to continue the facade program.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Get a seconder. Councillor Vic. Sorry, did I get that wrong? No, okay. We got Councillor Vic, all the same. Any questions or comments on that recommendation then? Oh, good. All in favor? No opposed. Thank you for that. So on the original recommendation then for the application, do we still want to go forward with that? Yeah. Okay. Mover, please. Yeah, we did. Oh, on the original. Okay, just a vote then. We've already got all in favor? Any opposed?
Just a question. So if we were successful with that previous motion, would that 20,000 still stand, or would there be a little star beside that?
I guess it would depend on what came back from NDIT.
Yeah, I think that 20,000 would still stand because this grant application deadline is already over, so that's already set.
Thank you.
Perfect. So we're good there on that vote? Okay, great. And then on the second recommendation?
That Quesnel City Council supports the application to Northern Development Initiative Trust for a grant up to $1,200 for the Love Northern BC program.
Can I get a mover? Councillor Runge, second. Councillor Rudenberg. Questions or comments? Councillor Runge?
Yeah, actually, I have a question with regards to the $1,200. Is there any way, I think following a lot on what Councillor Vick has said, that sounds actually fairly low. And my question is it, if this grant takes a lot of your time to, to put forward, then my question is, what's our cost effectiveness of actually putting a grant of this size in?
Yeah, I think we leverage a lot of that funding. That's the Economic Development Coordinator. She does the Love Quesnel program, and we partner with businesses in town, and we leverage the funding, and we use it quite, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Councillor Paul?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I think it's worthy of mention that the Love Quesnel program actually originated here in Quesnel, and it's a huge success. I got to travel around northern British Columbia quite a bit during this past summer, and was pretty proud to see the Love Hope and the Love Fort Nelson and the Love even McBride, and every time sort of reflect proudly back to Quesnel. So just had to mention that.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that. I think all of Quesnel is very proud that it started here and that most of the provinces picked that up. And I think Amy Corey was responsible for that initiative, which is just fantastic. So if there's no more questions or comments on that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. And then we'll go on to K3, Administration Report 10321, Financial Municipal Finance Authority Equipment Financing 2021. Director Bolton to report, please.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to request a resolution from Council to approve the equipment financing through the Municipal Finance Authority for the equipment in the 2021 capital plan that were to be financed. As part of the 2021 capital plan, Council approved the purchase of $1,080,000 of mobile equipment as required by the city's fleet replacement plan. As per the capital plan, $750,000 of mobile equipment was to be funded using the MFA equipment financing program. The current interest rate for equipment finance is 0.94%. Due to the lower interest rates on the payments and also the delay in purchasing quite a bit of our equipment, because some of it's taken quite a long to get here, it is recommended that only $500,000 is required from the MFA this year rather than the original budgeted $750,000. So the recommendation is that the Council of the City of Quesnel authorize up to $500,000 to be borrowed under Section 175 of the Community Charter from the Municipal Finance Authority for the purpose of purchasing mobile equipment in 2021, and that the loan be repaid within 5 years with no rights of renewal.
Can I get a mover? Councillor Goulet, seconded Councillor Paul. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That's unanimous as well. There was nothing brought forward from the SIP package, from the council information package, no correspondence. So right into the bylaw then. Bylaw 1911, City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees Amendment Bylaw 1911 of 2021, first, second, and third readings. Can I get a mover? Councillor Rudenberg, second, Councillor Vick. Any questions or comments? No, all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. No new business. My report is actually, sorry. There it is. Sorry about that. No changes to the upcoming meeting schedule, no changes to committee appointments. Any announcements or future events? No. Any gallery questions? I'm sorry, Mayor Bob.
Thank you. Just I'm going to use announcements and twist it a little bit, just for council's edification. 2 days in to my meetings down here in Victoria. Pretty interesting dialogue with government. And I was thinking today, because I started at 8 o'clock this morning, and I have had 8 minister meetings plus a number of meetings with senior government officials. And unlike UBCM speed dating, this feels like a marathon, because the next 3 days are even busier than the ones that I've had to date. I have to say, though, that we have a reputation among the government officials, both at the minister level and staff level, that we're a very progressive council doing some pretty interesting things. And what I'm finding is a really positive reception to continue to partner with us. And I'll do a report to council when we come back, but I'm hoping to have some discrete deliverables. It's a very receptive audience, and we're quite aligned with a lot of the aspirations that government has. So it's been good so far. But I'm happy to put my feet up today after walking the halls of the legislature quite actively throughout the day today.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Mr. Mayor. It's, yeah, we were talking about it before you showed up, just how important it is to be down there, and it was kind of a glitch that we didn't get to do the speed dialing, and if people are aware, when you go to UBCM, you get 15 minutes tops, and it never works out that way. You always it's 7 or 8 minutes to actually discuss everything that's going on in the city, so I think with this glitch, it's kind of worked out really well for us, so maybe something to think about in the future.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that. Any gallery questions? No, there is not. We already had that conversation earlier, too. Motion to adjourn, please. Yeah, everyone. Councillor Runge, Councillor Vic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good luck. All in favor? Yeah, no opposed. Thank you.